Up next, we have a panel discussion, Carbon Credit and Green Investment for the Future of Climate Change. Please join me in welcoming to the stage our moderator, Mr. Hamid Al-Balushi. He is the head of protocols at the private offices of Sheikh Sagar bin Mohammed Al-Qasimi. He has also worked very hard in the background to make today a reality.
This is going to be an interesting panel if you are into sustainability. Myself, I'm trying my best to be active into promoting sustainability. And here I am, I've got the best chance today. Please welcome on the stage, we've got Noosheen Behriyan. Noosheen Behriyan is a serial entrepreneur known as the trailblazer for building successful triple bottom line companies and measuring financial success with social and environmental impact. And her company, Paxson, which she founded, she was telling me about it, she founded in 2016, and it's the 9th fastest growing company. And she is the game changer in oil and gas and green energy. The next panelist is Kareem Al-Jisr. I was talking to Kareem Al-Jisr as he's walking in on the stage. He is so passionate about sustainability. He lives, breathes, and walks and talks sustainability. He was telling me, I need to make sure that you do the same. Thank you very much, Kareem. And we have Thomas Puskas. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce Thomas, the founder and CEO of Evocat. Welcome on the stage. He has developed a sustainable blockchain solution for carbon credit. And I've got to introduce you to Nancy Lu Wang. Nancy Lu Wang, please come on the stage. She is a climate investor and climate investment lead for IFC, 10 years of exploring into investment in renewable energy and sustainable infrastructure. Rachel and myself, we had a very long discussion, and I cannot forget this because she reminded me of the choitrams that we had in the UAE. So Rachel, please welcome on the stage. 18 years of retail and finance experience, passionate about sustainability as well. We're going to start the question with Nancy. Nancy, you're going to like this question. I'm sure you got enough information about this question as well. What are a few options of green investments you can tell us about?
Thanks for the question. And my pleasure, huge pleasure to be at the presence of such an esteemed audience today. So I actually thought about this question, right? And I feel very encouraged that us as individual retail investors are actually thinking hard about this question. Because sustainable investment or climate investment or ESG related investment used to be only the talks of the big guys, you know, of Wall Street, unless you have $1 billion, you know, the big asset managers. Those are the people who select stocks that have a climate or ESG angle. But nowadays, as individuals, we can all play a part actively in investing in climate. For instance, carbon credit, which is the topic of today. As we all know, carbon credit in the EU market actually has soared to historical high prices. And actually, the performance of carbon credit has outpaced even Bitcoin. So enthusiastic investors here who are very much into crypto and Bitcoin do consider carbon credit as a future asset class, which will give you very attractive returns. And also, more in maybe a layman's terms, you can also, when you invest in stocks, look at companies that have a very strong ESG angle and believe that these companies can, in the long term, deliver and outperform the market. That's it.
Oh, thank you very much for that insight, Nancy Lu Wang. Rachel, I've got a question for you. How can green investment affect the climate now that you've told me more about how passionate you are about sustainability and how how can Choitram, you've been dealing with, of course, how can Choitram add value in sustainability?
So firstly, thank you very much. I'm very happy and pleased and honored to be here today and sharing the platform with my esteemed co-panelists. Choithrams has been in the UAE for almost 50 years, and we are in the retail and distribution business, so we are in the food business. And we know that capital is important. We need capital for sustainability-linked technology. And there's something that Choithrams has done which we are very proud of. We have transitioned to clean energy in our main distribution center, and we had solar rooftop panels set up, which has helped us reduce a lot of carbon emissions. And this is what green finance, green investment has done to businesses like ours. So for businesses that are sustainability oriented like us, green investment is a huge opportunity for us as businesses to individually go into it, though it's not been mandatory yet, and voluntarily we have been doing this. So we see that businesses should be, kind of more live up to kind of green standards and avail of green investments to kind of decarbonize their businesses, their operations, and that's what Choithrams has been doing. Other than that, there are so many other areas that we are passionate about. It has been at the heart of Choithrams to be to kind of take sustainability-linked initiatives. So local production, local procurement of fruit and veg is something that we are very passionate about. Packaging is another area in sustainability. We were just talking about it and how such a big area, it's a huge area. And I think for the UAE, I think it's a great step that we're taking towards, banning plastic, starting to charge for plastic. Those are the areas that will encourage businesses to kind of be more sustainable and use technology and green investments to kind of decarbonize their operations.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Absolutely. Our government is in the forefront of of course, sustainability, and all those plans are in place in the next. They have started already, but there's more plans coming in and campaigns coming in order to create awareness about sustainability in the United Arab Emirates. We've got Thomas Puskas, founder and CEO of Evocot. He, of course, developed sustainable blockchain solution for carbon credits. That's very interesting to me. Thomas, can you tell us how can green investment affect climate? I know it's off the topic, but it is within your domain.
Green investment is actually today everything. You can invest into solar, you can invest into wind, you can invest into hydro, and you can invest now in carbon credits. And as we heard before, today anybody can invest, not only large investment funds and large family offices, everybody. Even we have people who are just investing a few dollars, but people more and more want to be part of this movement. We want to be part of impact investing, and everybody more and more wants to contribute to climate change. And the only way to contribute to climate change is to invest at the moment also for smaller investors to invest into carbon credits. Carbon credits is becoming more and more important. The value is increasing more and more. So at the moment also for smaller investors investing into carbon credits is not only, it doesn't have only an advantage because the climate will become better, but the value of the carbon credits is increasing. So even in a few years, the value of carbon credits will be 10 times, 20, 30 times more than it is today.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that insight, Thomas Puskas. And Nushin, can you tell us, having the startup that you were telling me about, you are the game changer in the industry of oil and gas and green energy. What a combination that is. I think that's the future. What are the advantages in future investment in green energy, Nushin?
Well, thank you for that question. And again, thank you to the entire Summit team for having me here from the US. So when we think about investing in energy efficiency, that's a critical path in not just establishing, but also achieving sustainability. Because when you think about it, we are not just inheriting the planet from our grandparents and our parents, we're borrowing it from our children and future generation. So when you look at the oil and gas sector, it is responsible to be one of the major emitters of methane emission. And if I were to tell you that today you can recover 75% of the global methane emissions for both oil and gas, wouldn't you be interested? If I were to tell you you can even recover close to 90% of your methane emission and put it back into the system, and that's exactly what we do. We're an engineering firm. This is what Paxson does, and we help oil and gas operators recover the methane emission. And methane is the main ingredient for natural gas. It's the same gas that you use to turn on your stove to heat your house. So if we address today's problem, we're not only addressing that, but we're solving all the energy for the future. And at the same time, through optimizing the operation, through operating with better technologies in today's world. And when I talk about technology, I'm not talking about fintech, I'm not talking about computer technology, I'm talking about physical assets at the wellhead, at the gas gathering lines, at the pipeline, that they have the capability of recovering emissions. So that is the future that we're investing in for the future generation, in recovering the waste that's not being utilized today.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Nushin. And we've got Karim just there, who I mentioned that he is so passionate about sustainability. Karim, you practice what you preach. Can you tell us how can you can tell us how to protect investors and businesses from the negative impact of climate change?
So the question has always been, and I think we hear that again and again, how do I protect my business? How do I protect my investment from climate change? And I think the answer to the question lies in reversing the conversation. How can my investment, how can your business help mitigate climate change? We really have to facilitate a paradigm shift. We tend to always think in boxes and in silos. Climate change is out there, literally out there, and it's impacting my investment in my business. What can I do to protect it and shield it? Fair enough, I have investors, I have shareholder value, but it starts by reversing the conversation. And so how do we mitigate? How can I contribute to mitigating, avoiding, reversing climate change? So I mean, just look at this space, and I feel the energy, by the way. I've been feeling the energy all day in Medan, so it has to do with the light, with the audience, with the speakers and the organizers, so thank you to all of you again. But if you look at this venue, how can this venue, instead of contributing to climate change, how can it help mitigate climate change? This is a fabulous space. We can think of renewable energy. We can think of the green space outside the arena. We can think of the food that is catered to us today. All these are avenues and pathways for Medan to go green and contribute to mitigating climate change. What if all of this was based on renewable energy, the entire operation? That would really elevate Medan Hotel and the racetrack to a whole other level. It is already a global destination, but it can become an even greater destination. So in response to how do we protect businesses and your investments today, I think you have two options. You have to differentiate a greenfield investment from a brownfield investment. So if you're moving your money, parking your money, making a new investment in a greenfield project, somewhere in the world, in Dubai or anywhere beyond, you got to go for projects that are climate resilient. So that means you're not going to invest in ski resorts on low-lying foothills where the snow line is moving up, because you know in a couple of years there's going to be no snow. You're not going to invest in coastal zone tourism in low-lying lands where you know that the sea level is going to rise, it's going to impact your investment. So clearly, if it's a greenfield investment, you have to opt for investment opportunities that are not impacted by climate change. However, if you're in the brownfield, that's very tricky. You really have to think twice. Am I going to invest more money into this business? What is the supply chain of that business? Is it currently impacted by or impacting climate change? Am I making myself more liable to carbon taxation in the future? It's just a matter of time before all of us have to face the reality, and we're going to have to pay somehow for the footprints that we leave behind. So we have two options, right? A greenfield investment, choose it wisely. A brownfield investment, you really have to think twice to see if that business, if that project is contributing to climate change or not.
Thank you so much, Karim. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, to the great panel that we had so many insights. So if you want, you could get in touch with them and, of course, get more insights from them. I would encourage that from the audience. And Nosheen, Karim Al-Jasser, Thomas Puskas, Nancy Luang, Rachel De Monte, thank you so much for your time and your presence.